It's the evening. There's a knock at the door and you open it to two police officers standing on your step, perfectly polite. And as you're taking in why they're there, one of them glances up just over your shoulder at the little glowing eye of your video doorbell, your ring, your camera, and he says, "Easy as anything. Do us a favour and switch that off, would you?" Or he simply lifts a hand and rests it over the lens, and because you're a decent person with nothing to hide, and because a police officer just asked, your thumb is already moving toward the app to turn it off. Stop, because in that one small polite moment, you are about to give away the single most valuable thing you own on that doorstep. And you are very probably being asked to give it away by someone who has no power to make you. That camera is not a gadget on your own doorstep. It is a witness that never blinks, never forgets, and never gets nervous and misremembers. It records exactly what is said and exactly what is done by you and by them. It is quite simply the best protection you have, if anything about this encounter ever goes wrong. And the instinct, the good cooperative instinct to switch it off the second an officer asks, is the instinct that leaves you standing there weeks later with your word against theirs and no way to prove which is true. So today I'm going to tell you exactly what the police can and cannot do about your doorbell camera when they're standing at your door, whether they can make you turn it off, whether they can cover it or grab it, and whether they can demand the footage and the one calm sentence that keeps your camera doing its job. And stay with me to the very end, because there is one specific situation where the police genuinely can take your footage lawfully. And if you don't know how to hand it over the right way in that moment, you can turn your own protection into a problem. I'll make sure you know the difference. I'm Oliver Bennett, a criminal defence solicitor in England and Wales, and for 15 years I've seen how often an entire dispute about what happened at someone's door comes down to one question: was there a recording or wasn't there? Let me make sure for you the answer is always yes. Let's start with the biggest myth, the one that does the most damage, and put it to bed straight away. There is no general power in this country for a police officer to stop you filming. None. You are allowed to record police officers carrying out their duties in public and on your own property. This isn't a loophole or a grey area. It is the settled position, and the police's own guidance says the same. An officer who simply doesn't like being filmed cannot order you to stop, cannot make you delete anything, and cannot lawfully cover your lens or snatch your phone just because the camera is inconvenient to him. And I want to be precise here because officers sometimes reach for a piece of law that sounds impressive. There is a section of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, Section 19, that gives police certain powers to seize things when they are lawfully on your premises. Officers have been known to wave it around as if it lets them stop you filming. It does not. Section 19 is about seizing evidence in specific circumstances. It is not a magic power to switch off your camera because they'd rather not be recorded. So if you ever hear an officer say, "I'm seizing that under pace," as his reason for covering your doorbell, that is your signal that something is off, because that is not what that power is for. Now think about why they might want it off, because once you see it clearly, you'll never reach for that off switch again. Your camera is the one thing in that entire encounter that has no side. It doesn't work for you, and it doesn't work for them. It just records the truth. And here is the uncomfortable reality. In the overwhelming majority of encounters, the honest officer doing his job properly has absolutely nothing to fear from your camera, and knows it. It's the rare encounter that goes wrong. The raised voice, the overstep, the thing said that shouldn't have been said, where a camera suddenly matters enormously. You cannot know in advance which kind of encounter you're about to have. So, you keep the witness running every single time, precisely because you can't predict the one time you'll desperately wish you had. And let me be concrete about what that running camera actually does for you, because protection is a vague word until you break it down. 3 things specifically. The first is that it fixes the words. Memory is a terrible witness, yours and his. And weeks later, 2 honest people will genuinely remember the same doorstep conversation differently. A recording doesn't remember, it knows. The second is that it fixes the behaviour. It captures tone, distance, who raised their voice, who reached for what, whether you were calm and whether they were. The things that decide who a court believes and that can't.